mind this holiday. I've got a little picture of a very kind of messy house as we will all have, I imagine. Um, and yeah, even whenever I look at that slide, it really does, make you feel cluttered, and that is what our brains are like all of the time. We have thoughts per millisecond. They're just constant and changing and feelings. What are we going to have to do? What have we not done? What's somebody going to think of me? Am I going to be able to do this? How is this person feeling? Um, just a huge amount of stuff generally. Um, you know, reflecting about the past, feeling connected with difficult emotions that you might have had, missing people, so many different things that constantly go through our mind in any moment, um, thinking about the future and thinking about the past mostly, really, what we have to do and what has happened, um, worrying about lots of different things as well as being excited about a lot of different things. But again, a lot of the time we're lost, um, thinking about what it is that we have to do, and especially around this time of year, and it can be very difficult to bring ourselves kind of back into the moment. So if we just go through the idea of the mindfulness spell, which is a really nice idea, because we can't all of a sudden, or even if you're practicing mindfulness for a long time, you can't be mindful. It's very difficult to be mindful all the time. So one way to think about it is to actually kind of like give yourself a mindfulness bell. So maybe just a few times a day, just think about the mindfulness bell and think, okay, what is it that I could be doing? How can I be more mindful about what I am doing right now? And it doesn't matter what you're doing, how you're feeling, none of those things. It's about how can you live in the moment in that time. So here's a few examples. Perhaps you decided to brave the weather and go out for a nice walk, either on your own or with a family member. So sometimes you can use the mindfulness bell to just ask yourself, how can I be more mindful in this moment? It might be about noticing the beauty around you, noticing what your body feels like, if you're cold, whether when you breathe you get that cold fog through the cold outside. Um, Notice any thoughts that you're going through your mind, any emotions. So again, it's not about anything being right or wrong in any way, just about living in the moment in that second and noticing what is going on around you. And we're actually going to go into this in a little bit more detail in a little while. Um, of course, around this time of year, between Christmas and New Year, spend a lot of time sometimes in queues, waiting and picking things up and doing things and doing errands, or maybe another, quite mundane activity. So again, it's about, well, using your mindfulness bell during any of those activities to just think, how can I be more mindful right this second? So maybe it is just about focusing on your breath or just tuning in to how you're feeling in that moment and just noting it and letting it go. Not that you have to change anything of what you're doing or feeling, but just recognizing it for what it is at that moment in time. And of course, it's a great time for eating. I know I love eating. I love my food. But a lot of the time, we really don't take the time to enjoy what we're eating. Um, I know I tend to scoff my food too quickly a lot of the time. And again, we're going to do a wee meditation in a moment for this. And it is just really about focusing and really enjoying or tasting what it is that you're eating, even if it's a Brussels sprout and you don't really want to eat it. Really just kind of coming to life with that kind of level of curiosity. And again, a different activity like washing dishes. There'll be chores to do over the holiday period, and you might think, well, how can I get anything from that? But it is just about really noting what the water feels like, what the soap feels like, how you're feeling at the time, what any thoughts are going through your mind, and just really sounds really weird being with the dishes or whatever chore you were doing at that time. So it becomes something that you can engage in more than you actually ever thought you could. So, and there's like 100, like there's just so many examples of how you can use a mindfulness style, and it's very unique, obviously, to you, to yourself. So